Hello everyone, hope you guys are doing well, right? Welcome to the class of communication theories. The code is MC1063, right? I'm Ilay Bharati Paneerselvam, you can call me Bharati. In this class, basically in communication theories, you can visit the e-learning for you to go through the course outline where I have stated the subjects, the syllabus, the theories that we are going to learn in this subject, all right, in the syllabus. So, all right, we'll basically be exploring the various theories existing or relevant to the field of communication, right? Right? When we speak about theories, of course, the first thing that you might think is it is either complicated, confusing, or it is too heavy, right? But you don't have to worry, right? Whenever we expose you to a new theory, we'll try to apply it in practice, right? We'll try to suit it to certain contexts, right? So that we may be able to understand them, and following that you will be able to know when to use them, right? Because basically theories will help you to see certain things in a way that you might have not seen them previously. It's also in layman terms, right? We treat it as a perspective, as a lens, right? As a glasses, right? If you are short-sighted or long-sighted, you need different level of, different types of lenses to help you to get a clear vision, right? So that's the basic understanding of theories, how you want to see, how you want to perceive certain conditions in the society, right? So that's the basic idea of this, right? In introduction to communication theories, basically, right, we are going to focus on the concept and knowledge of the communication discipline, which reflects a history of discovery, conceptual development, and modes of inquiry, right? These are the basic definitions to communication theories. What are the aspects, what is the intention of communication theories, right? Right, and consequently, what the field is today can be fully appreciated by understanding its historical journey. Right, before, the communication industries has been the means of communication has existed from time immemorial, right? It has been there always, but the theory have also changed over the time, right? Previously we were focusing on the influence of mass media, for instance radio and film or television, and then we had internet, and then we focused on internet. Now we have social media. Now we are trying to understand the effects, the influence, the expansion of social media and so on, right? So it's good for us to understand the context and also its historical journey, right? Where it began, why it was developed, for what it was used, where it was used, is it still relevant today, and so on, right? And another important thing is you just have to remember that theories are not laws, right? It is not like cannot be challenged. It's not something that's solid or uncontested. It can be contested, right? That's what I'm trying to say. Right? It can be contested, it can be challenged, you can denounce the validity of the theories and so on. So many theories have been challenged and corrected in certain parts, right? So that it is more comprehensive, right? It addresses the gaps and so on. All right, that's what you have to understand in you have to understand when you're speaking about theories. All right, these two basic values of studying communication theories, right? We'll look into it. First and foremost is knowledge of the field, right? Theories will help you to enhance your insight, your understanding will about certain issues, about certain principles and problems that characterize the discipline today. Right, as I told you earlier, some theories believe that the media has a strong influence, right, over the audience. Some theories, like critical theories, challenge that notion, right, saying that audience would be able to negotiate the content that is being conveyed to them, right? So different theories have different perspective, right? It tries to evoke a discussion, it tries to see certain things in a way that the larger society or certain people have disregarded. Right? You will also be able to develop a better understanding about the field's present content and knowledge. Right? It will help you to anticipate future developments in communication, research, and teaching as well. What does it mean, basically, right? By going this theories, right? Theories that has been being developed currently, right? What is the future for communication theories? It all helps you to gain an in-depth knowledge about the field. Could be any field, right? Not necessarily communication. So let's say in psychology, for instance, there are various developments to the theories, right? From the beginning of prior to Freud, and then we had the Freud period, the domination of Freud's psychological psychoanalysis, and then post-Freud, and so on and so forth, right? This is what we call each and every theory wanted to explore, to understand the conditions of that specific time. But since it is applicable to different contexts, different times, and different era, then we might be able to contest whether it is still relevant or irrelevant, right? Second, the practical value, right? Besides expanding your knowledge of the field, theories can describe and explain what happens when people interact with one another or the media. It explains, right? It explains the interaction between you with another person, right? Whether, let's say, public speech, right? We take an example of politicians, how politicians use the platform of public speeches to express or to persuade the people to vote for them, right? Whether people are buying that, you can study about the theories, can study whether public speakings are effective or not, right? Or on other hand, you can study about media's reach. What kind of messages does it send? Whether what kind of ideologies does the media enunciate, right? What are the reach for media as well? So these are the things that you can explore by having a concrete or a suitable theory to understand this phenomenon, right? Second would be directly pertinent to everyday in real life. They will enlarge your understanding of experience, right? Every day you might be seeing certain things, right? It come across your sight every day, like for instance in television, right? You see these advertisements glorifying whiteness, right? Beauty is considered as white, perfection is considered to be white, and so on. So then you see this media each and every day, but by utilizing the correct theories, right, you might see that it's a consumerist culture that is being tried to be imposed by a capitalist structure, right? The money-making corporates, for instance, wanted to induce the mind of the masses so that they may believe being white is equivalent to being beautiful, right? But certain theories might question, is that the only way to perceive beauty, right? Beauty can be dark. Now as time goes, that people are contesting those ideas. People are arguing that not necessarily that someone has to be white to be considered as beautiful, right? These are the notions. There are certain things they may see every day, but by using different set of theories, you might be able to comprehend the other side of the story, right? The other side of the coin. Each theory will offer you valuable tools for understanding our everyday life. So, let's say, could be advertisements, could be poverty, right? You see people, homeless people around you. You might, all this while, you might thought that they are lazy, they are not working, right? But then maybe certain theory, like for instance, Marxism, right? The theories of Marxism may say that no, this is a product of exploitation, right? The rich is exploiting the poor, right? And which causing for the conditions of homelessness and so on, right? Also, in the aspects of communication, for instance, functionalism believes that everything happening to maintain the equilibrium of the society. But again, Marxism criticized that there's a class in society, there's rich and poor, those who owns the media and those who consumes the media. How the owners shapes the message that has to be sent to the consumers, the users, and so on. So there's a different dimension altogether, right? So each and every theory have different dimension, have different targets, have different contents, and so on, right? Theory and practice are not distinct concepts. Good theories inform and improve practical life. Practical activities are focus of theories, right? Theory is basically is like it's a knife, right? For you to test whether you have understood the theories, you have to apply it in your daily life, for instance, right? If not, if you keep on sharpening the theory without practicing it, you would never be able to see whether you have understood the theories or not, right? In this sense, you can apply it in your daily life. You can apply it when you watching a film, when you're watching an advertisement, when you're reading something, right? In the conversation between your family members, your partners, and so on and so forth, right? Right. Besides that, coming back to the context of communication, right? It makes you to understand trends and patterns of events happening in the world today, right? For instance, although this might be a backdated example, but it's very relevant. When the United States invaded Iraq back in 2002, right? How the Western media portrayed Iraq as a country that's developing chemical weapons and so on, which also kind of invoked the people, right? The citizens to support the invasion on Iraq. But however, for instance, the Fox News and the Rupert Murdoch, how the media conglomerates, right, the media owners, how they perpetuated the conditions, an environment that Iraq is dangerous, therefore you need to invade them, and so on and so forth, right? Theories will help you to see it better, right? You can go through the layers and layers of shields have been over the phenomenon or situation and conditions, right? Right? Simplest way to define theories is to say that they are attempts to make sense of things, right? As I told you earlier, right? Basically, how you're making sense about the world, right? You see a thing, right? You see that a lot of people, for instance, in 1920s, right? 1940s, when a lot of Germans subscribed to the idea that the German race, the Aryan race, is superior to others. There's a group of scholars from called as the Frankfurt School, right? They examined the media, how the media was used, basically from the film, from radio, from television, newspapers, pamphlets, how the media content were producing things to ensure the people subscribe to the notion of Aryan supremacism, for instance. In today's context, for instance, we take the example of anti-ISIL rally that happened last year, right? It happened last year. Was it last year? 2020, 2019, sorry, 2018, right? It happened in 2018, right? How the right-wing race-based and religion-based groups harped on the call that the race and religion would be threatened, right? The Islam and Muslims would be threatened by ratifying ISIL, for instance. How the media worked during that period, right? These are the attempts to make sense of things, right? You want to make sense of poverty. You want to make sense of crime. Why is it happening? Why is it happening in certain places and it's not happening in other set of places, right? You maybe wanted to understand why there's an increase in snatch theft in 2020 compared to 5 years back, right? You want to make sense. Theories helps you to understand these things, also make sense of things, right? A theory offers an account of what is something is, how it works, what it produces, causes to happen, and what can change, right? These are the explanation to what theory can offer you, basically, right? You can make an account, you can record what is something, what happening, right? What is it, right? If you see there's a phenomenon, right? You see a problem, right? You may use these theories to explain what it is, basically, right? How it works, how the media functions, what is the content, right? What does the media what does the media owned by person A produce compared to what the media owned by person B produce, right? For instance, right? And so on and so forth, right? These are the things that you may be able to understand by theories, right? According to Karl Popper, right? Theories are human construction, where theories are nets cast to catch what we call the world, right? You can use the theories to understand, right? To analyze, to form an explanation, right, about what's happening around you, right? That's what we call as theories, right? Theories also represent points of view, right, in which theory A might have a different point compared to theory B, and also theory C and D, and so on and so forth, right? So each and every theory has their own objective, and also, since it's made by human, right, it is developed by human, they have their own subjectivity, they have their own interpretation, right? How they investigate certain things, how they explore certain things, what they choose to see, right? These are the reasons why we have so many theories that tries to explore the gaps that has been created by pre-existing theories, right? If you think along, right, we have faced a lot of, with various puzzles about communication and social life, right? Why does one friendship grow while another break, right? maybe you want to maybe you want to analyze what went wrong, right? What are the things that could be improved, right? Maybe you lack interpersonal skills, right? Maybe you're not paying attention when your friend is speaking to you, right? When someone is experiencing and sharing their feelings to you and you are not bothered about it, right? Some communication effects, right? Whether it's influential, whether it's working or not, like what effect will increasing use of the internet have on our daily life? And some may argue that your theory will guide you, of course, right? You may find that some says it helps you to learn more things, right? Some critics may find that it only helps people to become more lazy, for instance, right? Becomes lazy and so on. So theories guides you to which angle you may perceive the existing condition, the situations, problems, and issues. Right, these are the four main things, what we call the four basic goals of theories, right? First, description, right? A process of using symbols to represent phenomena. The first task in building theories is to identify features of some phenomenon and describe any variations in them, right? For example, right, if you examine personal relationship, right, it may say that, right, theory says that they are made up of 5 features: individual, social context, communication, relational culture, right, intimates, and time, right? How these symbols represent a certain relationship, right? How they define certain interactions, right? How the personal relationship between you and your partner, right? Whether there's a difference in the way you communicate when you're with your parents, and how do you communicate with your employer, how do you communicate with your lecturer, and so the social context, how does it play a role over there, right? Earliest model of communication process, right? Shannon Weber was very prominent in understanding mass communication model, right? Through their theory, right? Through their theory, this is the remember that it was developed in 1940s, where we don't have internet, where you don't have interactive mass medium. So it starts at source, then you have a message, then it goes to transmitter, then it's signal, right? There's a signal, right? It might be the medium, right? And then there's a noise. May present over here, may present over here, may present over here, may present over here as well, right? The noise could be physical, could be semantics, right? Could be your thoughts, right? Your wandering thoughts and so on. And then you have a receiver and the destination, right? The message travels all the way to the receiver and destination. So the problem with this model or theory is that before that, right? It's basically a model that describes what happens when people communicate as the flow of information from you to the receiver. So from the source to receiver. Source creates a message and transmits it by voice and so on and so forth, right? We have gone through that, right? Because of this noise, there's a possibility that you may not be able to understand the message as the sender wants it to be conveyed, right? So this is a problem, right? Another the single most criticism is that right, the model only labels each communicator as either sender or receiver, instead of acknowledging that all communicators are both senders and receiver. This theory assumes that or sees communication as a one-way process, right? It doesn't include or realize that each communicator could be both or more than both as senders and receivers simultaneously, right? Second is explanation and effort. Theory is an effort to clarify how and why something works, right? As we spoken earlier, right? After describing what makes up communication, theories ask how the parts interact and work together. Right? As a theorist, you want to explain why communication works as it does, right? And why does, for example, right? Why does certain kinds of advertisement work and influence people? Right? Not all advertisements has the capability to influence the people or to push them to buy certain things, right? Only certain advertisements have succeeded in making people to buy certain products. So you may want to understand why this works and the other parts of advertisement doesn't work, right? So you seek to explain the, the success or the failure of communication, right? Third, prediction, control, and understanding, right? Theories allows us to understand, predict, and control what will happen, right? Certain theories you may want to understand, like the previous one, right? You want to understand why it happens, right? Maybe for instance in 2018 elections, right? By going through the socio-economic context, there are a lot of scandals were going on, nationwide scandals. The cost of living were increasing and so on and so forth, which caused the fall of the 60 years old of Barisan National Regime, right? Theories allows you to understand, and it also allows you to predict what will happen, right? By examining, by investigating these 5 years of government, right? You might predict, or you might want to examine how people post their comments in political postings and so on, right? In social media, whether people are inclined to vote or whether people are in favor of the new government or not. You can predict whether they'll win or not in the next election, right? This is what we call, and also to control. You may be able to control certain things from happening, right? So that's what theory allows you to do, right? Prediction involves projecting what will happen to a phenomenon under specific condition or exposure to particular stimuli, right? As I explained to you. Right? Scholars who adopt this position believe that a good theory is one that allows us to forecast what will happen under certain condition, right? Right? This we have discussed this as well, and I've explained to you as well. Right? Prediction is related to controlling outcome. We can predict what causes them. Right? By understanding the cause, right? Every effect has a cause, right? What caused for them to have this effect, right? As we discussed. I mean, as I said earlier, right? Maybe an increase in poverty may cause an increase in crime rates. People are committing crimes, snatch thieves, so on and so forth, right? Lastly, we call it reform. Theory helps you to reform. Reform what, right? Active pursuit of positive social change. You find there's a problem in society, right? Like poverty, for instance, right? Okay, besides poverty, maybe there's a lack of public hospitals, right? Or lack of public education institution, right? Then you want to use your you want to use your research. You may conduct a research based on certain theories so that you will be able to identify what needs to be rectified, right? Theory might suggest that by increasing the number of public institutions, we might be able to eradicate illiteracy, for instance, right? So those are theories that will help you to reforms to take place in society. Maybe by saying that replacing death penalty with rehabilitation programs might decrease the crime rate in society, right? Those are theories that you can use to bring reforms in society, right? The other parts, what we call the critical theories, right? Usually, or their focus is more on how communication oppresses or liberates individuals and social groups. And how the media is used as a tool, right? If we'll learn about this much later, like Gramsci's theory of hegemony and also Marxist theories, where they argue or explain that media is being used to reinforce status quo or retain the status quo in society. For instance, so that the rich remains rich, the poor remains poor, right? Or the ruling elites, how they use the media to maintain their power, right? We'll look into it much later, right? A much detailed discussion will be happening in specific topics about that, right? Basically, that's it, right? No tutorial for now. We'll begin much later, maybe in the third week. Right? If you have any questions, do drop by in the forum discussions, or you can also email to me. Right? See you soon. Take care. Bye bye.